This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
So I usually start the show by kind of teasing the third topic and work my way in. But I find the first topic really interesting here. And if you're not a Lions doom and gloomer, maybe you're getting tired of me, and that's fair. And it's funny because I've gotten so much crap over the years for being a homer. But I found myself thinking this year, as somebody who works on a gambling show, the Lions over-under is set at 5.5. And I think there's a feat they're much more likely to meet than hitting that over. We'll get to that here in a moment. Also, Stroz, I looked through our text messages. You have not proposed this topic before, but I feel like, one, we've done it. And I feel like, two, you have proposed it. You asked the question, have you ever bit off more than you can chew? I feel like we've done this exact topic 4 times. I think it's just, generally speaking, how your home projects go. We're going to get to the latest.
I like when I proposed it to you, I was like, this kind of feels like old hat, but
I feel like
I don't know.
I literally typed, you know how you can search in your phone, like previous messages that have been sent?
Yes.
I typed in bit off more than you could chew because I thought you had proposed word for word the same topic before. And I don't really have a great answer there. It's going to be an interesting middle topic. I think it might be shorter than normal, but it flows really well into our third topic, your non-negotiable sports moments, the things that you can't miss. And I think as you get older, as maybe Stroz is proving here, that those moments become a little bit more negotiable. But
I like what you did there.
I do feel like everybody should have some, right? If you're a big sports fan, you should have some moments that, like, no, nothing comes above this. We're going to get to that as well. But first, the thing that I think the Lions are more likely to do than hit the Rover at 5.5, I think they're more likely to go winless. And I do want to be clear here. I don't think they're going to go winless. But I don't look at a single game on the schedule and say, that's the one. That's the one they win. I admit the one thing that could really throw me off here is last year's defense was historically bad. And it's hard for me to see the improvement because I don't think it came on the roster. It would exclusively come from game planning, from head coaching. But I don't know this coaching staff well enough to know how much they can lift up a historically bad defense. Do I expect it to be better? Yes. How much? I don't know. And 5.5, I think 5 is being pretty optimistic, to be honest with you. 6? There's no way. This sounds so ridiculous. But if this team wins 6 games, I'm going to be accused of being a homer again. Like, Stroz is going to be upset because they're going to be picking 7th instead of 3rd or something like that if they win 6. But I'm going to look at 6 and go, holy shit. This coaching staff got 6 out of this roster? Because here's the thing. Do I believe Jared Goff is an NFL quarterback? Yes. Do I believe he's a starter? Maybe. It shows you how important I think quarterbacks are, right? But I think you paired a really bad starting quarterback with wide receivers who nobody's ever heard of. And while I do expect the offensive line to be pretty good and the running game to be fine, it's a passing league. And I don't think you're going to be able to throw the ball, and I don't think you're going to be able to play defense. I don't know how you win games in this league.
It's funny, when you proposed this question, I was like, I thought for sure you were going with the over because you are the homer out of the two of us.
Hold on. Here's the thing. I'm not the homer. I get accused of being the homer. That's not actually true. You're the one who predicted them to win the division last year, not me.
You got me all whipped up in a frenzy.
Homer. Yeah, okay.
You got me all whipped up into a frenzy, and I was buying the sauce. But you, when you proposed this, I thought for sure you were going to go with the over. I thought for sure you were like, no, there'll be a 6 or 7 win team.
I don't see it.
And you were like, no, not at all. And I was like, what? Then you were like, so are you on my side? I was like, well, I think they're going to be a 5-win team. So I don't think they're winning more than 5 games. I think 5 games is the ceiling. So I think
neither of us think they're going to do either one of those things. Neither of us think they go 0-17 or win more than 5.5.
I don't think.
Which one is more likely?
I would probably say 0-17. I would say probably 0-17 is probably more likely because I don't see them winning 6 games. I don't know how this team
changed the whole topic because you said it was a hard question and now you're out here.
Well, no, it is. It's a difficult question for me. But I know what you do. So you're going to try to pin me down. So I'm just like, I know where this is going to go. So like, here's the thing. I don't think they win 6 games. I think there's no chance in hell they win 6 games. It's not a good team. You've already kind of laid it out. You've got a subpar quarterback.
Is what you're telling me. There's no shot in hell they win 6 games. This is easy.
Well, I don't think they win 6 games at all. I think they win 5 games. So like, I think 5 is the ceiling for this team.
And so this is easy. This is not a hard question, right?
Do they win 6 games? If the question is, do they win 6 games? Then yes, this is an easy question. I don't necessarily think they win. I don't think they go 0-17.
I just need you to embrace the either or here. I don't want because if the conversation is will the Lions win between 1 to 5 games, I don't know why we're here. The question is, are they more likely to go 0-17 or are they more likely to go over 5.5? And your answer is more likely to go 0-17.
Correct.
Then I guess our conversation's done.
You can elaborate.
I don't need to. I don't need to. See, I thought when we proposed this topic, you told me it was a tough one.
Because I thought 5. I think 5 games is the ceiling for this team. I think 5.5 is tough, right? Because I don't know if this team has a 6th win in it. I don't see it. When you look at the schedule, right?
Okay. You know what? I'm going to change the topic because you just won't engage the way I want you to. What's the number I need to make it? Like, are they more likely to win 1 game or 6, 2 games or 6? Like, what do I need to do to make this a debate for you?
Take the over under 4.5, and I'll go with 5.
Okay, so in this made up fantasy world where Vegas lets against the over 4.5, I'm still telling you here, Stroz. I think it's more likely the Lions win 0 games than 4 games.
4.5, really?
I think 3 is the number where I would say no. They're more like, dude. The thing is, they have a fairly tough schedule, too. It's not just a really bad football team. Like, I know the 49ers won 6 games last year, but they were torn apart.
Well, can we both agree that the 49ers are going to be a better team this year? They had so many injuries last year.
Here's what I wanted. We haven't really played the schedule game yet, and the season starts this week, so I think we can really quickly. 49. I don't even want to do win-loss. The schedule game is games where you think they even have a conceivable chance to win. 49ers. No. Packers. No. Ravens. No. Notice I didn't say where those games are played because I don't care. You could play them on the moon, and only the Lions are in spacesuits, and you still lose to the lifeless Ravens. There's no possible way you beat the Ravens. Lions at Bears. I'm going to say yes if Andy Dalton's the quarterback. Honestly, I'll say yes either way.
I say yes, too.
Vikings on the road. No.
This might be where we differ. The Vikings, to me, seem like an absolute mess right now. On the road, I get it. It's hard.
They win at receiver. I don't know their defense very well. I'm just going to assume they win over the historically bad defense for last year. They got a better running back. Like the Lions win what? The offensive line? The quarterback might have his shot, which we don't. I don't believe we even know that to be the case.
I don't think he's got his shot. He wants to play in a plexiglass bubble.
No. I meant like places where the Lions win. Like Jared Goff might be vaccinated.
I thought you were talking about his vaccine shot. My bad.
No, I am. But I'm saying Jared Goff might be vaccinated. It might be somewhere where you have a slight advantage. The way the Lions win that game is that Kirk Cousins has COVID.
Right.
That's the only
I think it's a possibility. I think it's a possibility.
Sure, it is. But I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna say no. Bengals, sure. I think they're underdogs. But I think that it's winnable.
I think it's a winnable game as well.
Rams on the road, no shot in hell.
No, not in hell.
Eagles at home, I'll say sure.
See, that one's tough for me. I don't know. Are the Eagles really that bad? I don't know. No, it's Stroz. You got to remember here. I'm simply telling you the games I think they can win. If I were to predict playing win loss, this is what I would do. Week 1, loss. Packers, loss. Ravens, loss. Bears, loss. Yeah, that's a road game. Vikings, loss. Bengals, loss. Rams, loss. Eagles, loss. Steelers, loss. Browns, loss. Bears at home is the one I actually struggle to pick. I think it's conceivable you beat the Bears at home. They were a fucking playoff team last year, but I'm giving you that one. Vikings, loss. Broncos, it's on the road. I
struggle with that one.
That's a loss all day. I don't know why you struggle. That's a loss.
I think the worst teams on your schedule are the Bengals, the Bears, the Broncos, the Eagles. The Cardinals lost. Falcons on the road. I would say there are 3 games on the schedule I even consider picking the Lions. So, I don't see how they get to 4. And the thing is, Stroz, we've seen it so many times before that you get the team who no one thought they were going to be any good. The great coach comes in, and wow, they were way closer than we thought. That's what I think 6 wins would be. That's why I would be a homer at 6 wins. Because 6 wins to me would be, damn, this team was way better than I thought, because I don't believe in any part of this offense. I think the scoring offense could be bottom 5, and I fully expect the scoring defense to be bottom 5. I think that there is a tier in this league that only belongs to the Lions and Texans, and I don't think anybody else is close. Could they beat teams in that next tier where you're talking about the Jets, the Jaguars? Maybe. We don't know what we're going to get there. The Giants? Yeah, no, they can beat those teams. It's the NFL. You can always beat teams that are better than you. But I think the bottom tier in this league, the 2 teams that are fighting for the number 1 pick exclusively, are the Lions and the Texans. I
don't really disagree with you. I think the Texans are a complete mess, and I think the Lions are. I don't even know what we have with this team. That I think is what the hardest part of all of this is. You don't really know what you've got with this team. Like, you don't know anything about this coaching staff. You don't know how that's going to go. You don't really know. Like, you brought up was it last week? You had the tweet about the wide receivers, and like you could slip in a made up name and nobody would know because nobody knows any of these guys.
More likely, Khalif Raymond, who is the number 2 receiver currently.
Does that not shock you? That's a little bit shocking to me.
What is there to be shocked about?
I just like this was a guy who was.
This belongs over him. You think Amon-Ra St. Brown, the 4th round rookie, belongs over him? There's nothing shocking about the receiving core.
To me, it's. I did not expect him to be the 2nd wide receiver. I just when
more likely he finishes the season as wide receiver 2, or a guy currently not on the roster does.
Oh, I think that's more likely. I think guy currently not on the roster does.
That's not something that happens in the NFL. You don't pick guys up in the middle of the season who end up being key.
Travis Fulgham. What, last year, 2 years ago? Last year, right?
That was last year.
Last year?
Was he not on the roster to start the year? Was he on the Lions roster to start the year?
He was on the Lions roster to start the year. They
went
cut
to the Packers.
Him. Yeah, and then.
But it doesn't, Stroz. They had like 9 injuries.
It was nuts, but
receivers are the most injury-prone group of players in any sport.
Generally, smaller guys get hit.
But it's just I just don't think you couldn't point to many receivers in the history of the league who have joined a team and been a key contributor. And I think the real answer is that it's Quintez Cephas, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, if you said Khalif Raymond versus the field of Lions receivers, Calvin, or I don't know his first name, Hodges. Is it Calvin? It's not Calvin. What is his name? There's a Calvin. Oh, I'm thinking of the fucking Calvin and Hobbs is what I'm thinking of. That's the name I'm giving to Hodges. What the hell is the receiver's name?
It is. I've got it pulled up here. Kaderil Hodge.
Okay, yeah, I'm close enough. Calvin Kaderil. I mean, sounds similar. Kaderil Hodges. It's probably the field. It may not be Khalif Raymond, but it's probably somebody else on the roster. The point is, I don't think it's Khalif Raymond. There's nothing. This is the most devoid of talent team I've seen of the Lions since they went 0-16. And when you look back at that 0-16 team, that's one of the fun things to do is holy crap, how many of these guys actually belong in the NFL? The difference is with the Lions, it's very young. Some of these guys might end up being good players one day. They're just not there yet. I just think in order for them to win 6 games, you would need breakout seasons from half of your starters. I think you would need a wide receiver to have a breakout season. I think you would need to have at least 1 or 2 members of the secondary, at least 1 or 2 members of the defensive line. It's going to be bad, and I'm okay with that. But the point is, it's going to be so bad. I cannot remember a bet that I've seen where I thought it was easier than under 5.5 on the Lions. It's free money.
So what you're telling me is Kaikalama Francis could join this team and start over anybody. Gerald Alexander could start over anybody.
I mean, Kaikalama Francis was you're picking number 53 on the roster. When he was drafted, nobody knew who he was. He was the Jelani Tavai of that team. At least this team cuts that guy.
Gosder Chairless.
I mean, Gosder Chairless had a 10-year. Gosder Chairless is actually a good example.
He was a good,
not a good player, but he went on to have a decade career.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you don't
have. Remember Avion Kayson?
Yeah, I'm not telling you don't have Gosder Chairless on this roster. I'm not even telling you that you don't have future superstars on this roster. It's just you need several of them to show up this year, I think, to win 6 or 7 games. So we can move on from there. But the point is, take all of the money out of all of your savings accounts, including your I don't care. Pay the fees on your retirement funds. Do what you got to do. put all of your money on the Lions under 5.5, and it will guaranteed win. There is a 0% chance you lose that bet.
I agree.
Apple is more likely to go bankrupt than the Lions are to win 6 games. I am more likely to have a one-night stand with Megan Fox than the Lions are to win 6 games.
And we all know that's not happening because you would get scared and wouldn't know what to do.
Stroz is more likely to be rational than the Lions win 6 games. Put all your money on it. All right. Stroz, I swear to God we've done this topic before. But
we probably have. You know who will let us know? Riley will let us know.
Of course. I mean, we've done 90 episodes. I'm not entirely opposed to recycling a topic now and then. It was just what really caught me is the way you worded it. I thought you had done exactly before. And again, we're going to get to this. You missed the Michigan game this weekend, which, as big of a fan as you are to miss week 1, I understand it's against Western. You know how I feel about college football. I wouldn't mind missing it.
But you watched it.
I did. I mean, like, it's the first week of football. If I'm available, here's what I would say. It's not a non-negotiable for me, as we'll get into later. But it's the first week of football. I want to watch it. But I'm curious to hear about what you were up to that had you missing it and what you have to ask about it.
So my question is, have you ever just bit off a little bit more than you can chew? Have you ever got yourself in a situation where you're probably just not the most adept, or you're probably not the most adapt to handle something that you thought you could handle? In this case, this weekend, I was like, yeah, babe, we can totally replace that back door. We've been talking about this for a couple months now. She has a back door. It opens the wrong way. You sometimes almost fall down the basement stairs because of the way the door opens, and it's a small landing. Plus, when you have 3.5 dogs, it makes it a little bit difficult sometimes. So I was like, yeah, I can rip that door off, and we can put a brand new door on. It should be no problem. We'll get a pre-hung door. This should be great. We'll pull the old one out. We'll put the new one in. We'll lay down some nice hardwoods. We'll be good to go. Got this all day. Bro, why is it now Friday? I still don't have the floors leveled. I don't have a screen door on this thing that I was supposed to put on it. I don't have the flooring down. I don't even have the stairs done. I did get the door in, however, after 7 hours. Mind you, I put the door in, and there are so many things I wish I would have knew before I put this door in. Like, I didn't level out the floor. I just put the door in. I didn't even think about buying caulk. I don't know why I didn't think about buying caulk. You need caulk. You got to caulk the door. You got to seal it. I didn't think about any of that. I was in so far over my head with this project. I think it's going to turn out okay in the end, but I was in so far over my head. I was like, what the hell are we doing? There was a point there where I wanted to call my dad and be like, can you just come over and help me? Because I have no clue what the hell I'm doing. We went to go put this screen door on after 7 hours of installing the actual door, and pulled the instructions out. And I was like, I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, I was like, she's like, we can hire somebody to install this. I was like, who? She's like, we just got to call Lowe's. They'll have somebody come out. It's like $140. I was like, do that, because I can't do this. Like, I can't figure this out to save my life. I still, like I said, I still have to level out a floor, which, mind you, I should have had the floor leveled before I ever put the door in. Got to level out a floor, and I still got to lay hardwood floors. This has been an absolute mess. And I thought Tim the Toolman Taylor over here could handle it. Me, my nail gun, my 4 drills, my saws. Oh, by the way, I got a really sweet table saw. I thought for sure I'd be able to use that and everything would be great.
So, Stroz, maybe this is a sad commentary on my life, but I think my answer to your question is no. and that's not what you want, right? Like, I just yelled at you for the last segment for not bringing what I wanted you to bring. But I'm going to take it in a whole different direction here. No, I really don't think I do have a story like that. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, things where I came close to that even, right? And literally in this moment, not prepped, something that came to mind is when I went to the Sleeping Bear Dunes. Like, I want to just fucking go and go and go, but I was terrified of the idea of getting too far and being too tired and, like, not being able to make it back. Like, I don't go too far. You talk about doing these home improvements, like, makes me think, like, I never want to own a home. I'm not even joking. Like I say a lot of stuff. So one thing about this podcast, and I have no idea how it comes off, but Stroz, I think you can attest to this. I often say things very seriously that I don't mean seriously at all. And sometimes I think it's very clear. Other times maybe it's not. I mean with complete sincerity that when I hear people talk about home improvement projects, it makes me think I don't want to buy a home. When I was in DC and I helped my friend with his air conditioning, it felt like a major accomplishment when we got it working, even though it broke like 12 hours
right
later.
there. That's a prime example of you getting in over your head. You had no idea what the hell you were doing. You figured it out though.
I don't know though. Like you decided to undertake a project. It was 90 degrees in the house and I didn't want to die. I was forced in over my head. I didn't choose it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's someone throws you into the deep end of the pool. You didn't go in over your head. Like you were forced in.
You were forced in.
And I just know. I'm trying to think like I don't have any stories that come to mind where I was like, man, this is just I bit off more than I can chew. Like I can't handle all of this. I play it pretty safe, which I think is pretty on brand.
That is pretty on brand for you. It really is. I don't know, man. I thought for sure I'd be able to handle this. And the worst part is the way I had it figured, right? I was like, this door is going to take me 3 hours to do. Anticipate at least 6. So I'll tell you this. If you ever do get a home, you ever get a home improvement project, figure out whatever you're anticipating as far as time and then double it.
Can I tell you why that's concerning?
Why?
Because when you told me your project, I thought 12 hours.
Yeah. So I was like 3 hours for the door, so it should take me 6. Getting the door installed took 7 hours. And that's just the door. It was nuts.
When I put up the blinds in my first apartment, I thought it would take an hour, and it took 8. And so, I'm putting them up at 9 a.m. and I'm finishing just in time so that I can sit down and watch Sunday Night Football. And I think
was that a project where you were a little bit in over your head?
But again, I didn't have a choice. My apartment complex said, you put up blinds or we kick you out. Like, have I ever been in over my head? Sure, but certainly not by my own.
Not by your own volition,
not by my. Yeah, no, I'm not putting myself in those situations. No way.
I love how you play everything so safe and close to the vest.
I'm telling you, I'm bearing my soul to you, Stroz, telling you I don't. I'm telling you that this is a sad commentary on my life, Stroz.
I need you to come home. I need to get you out. I need to put you into a precarious situation.
I don't know how that would be for a relationship. It would be such a work in progress because you would put me in situations that I wasn't absolutely not okay with. And we'd have to find the balance because otherwise it would end things between us, Stroz. The podcast would be over. Because I'm not sure.
But it would make for great content, B.
I'm not sure how much I trust you. I certainly trust you to try to understand the lines. But I don't know how much I trust you to actually understand the lines.
Could you imagine it? Me and you, strip club. It's going down. Stacks and stacks of dollar bills. This is gonna be a good time, B. Good drinks are flowing. You know what they sell? They serve great steaks at strip clubs. Get you a steak dinner.
You smoke weed at a strip club?
I don't know. I haven't been to a strip club since weed's been illegal.
I'm just so much more pro weed over alcohol. It's not even close.
You can get. Do you use a little vape pen?
I never have.
No.
I'm pretty game for whatever.
I've hit one of those before. That's a different experience.
Okay, let me take that back. I don't know if I'm game for whatever because I did have the edibles experience. I think I would be willing to try most things.
Yeah, the vape pen's pretty cool. You should try that. And I think you can do those inside of a strip club. I really don't know if you can light up a joint in the middle of the strip club though.
I don't know.
But the vape pen you can do.
We're just going to fucking off the rails before we move on here. I think, because I went to the Lions game while I was back, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to smoke. And I smoked before I went, but it just doesn't last long enough. It doesn't last the length of a game. I think we need to get to a place where if you can smoke cigarettes there, you can smoke weed there. And you know how you go to a sporting event, they have a smoking section? Mm-hmm. I should absolutely be able to go out at halftime and smoke a joint.
Yeah.
100%.
It's legal, so.
And before anyone listening thinks I have a problem, prior to being back home, I had not smoked in 8 months. I've literally never smoked outside of Michigan. Now, if I move back to Michigan, I'm not going to say I won't have a problem, but I don't currently.
Is it not legal in Houston?
No. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. It's weird. Houston, like Texas, is just weird overall. I just feel like it's so. I feel like that and like sports betting have been like the big boom. They're so legal everywhere now.
Neither of those things are legal here. Dude, I like. We talked about it before the show, how we enjoy the 20 minutes we talk before the show more than the actual show, and I feel like I'm doing that right now, but I'm gonna fucking do it anyways. Are you aware? And I don't know where you stand on abortion. I'm not trying to get too deep in that, but are you aware of the new abortion laws in Texas?
No.
It's
not one of those things I wake up in the morning and I go to Google and I'm like, hey, what's going on with the abortion law?
You don't have to go to Google. This is major news. You can report somebody you are suspicious I don't know if you could report somebody who you're suspicious of getting an abortion, but like you can basically there are cash rewards for turning people in for getting an abortion. $10,000. If I turn somebody in and led to the information, that them figuring out someone got an abortion through wherever, I could be rewarded $10,000 by the state of Texas.
That's nuts. Like, that is weird.
It's after 6 weeks, but 6 weeks is obviously nothing. So yeah, no, it's a third world country here. Weed is definitely not legal. Gambling is not legal. Mask mandates are not legal. It's.
Oh, by the way, so we didn't talk about this in our 20 some odd minute beforehand, whatever. I got my first shot.
I'm very happy to hear that. How'd it go?
I got my first shot. So when the guy stuck me, he was like, "Oh, it'll be a little poke," and I was like, "All right." Ended up sticking me, and he was great. Didn't really feel anything. And then I was like, "Is my arm gonna get sore?" And he was like, "Yeah, it probably will." So in the middle of me doing this project.
Oh, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot for doing this project. Have you not heard the horror stories from some people? I want to specify the horror stories typically only last a day, maybe. And many, myself included, I mostly was able to go about my normal day. But to decide to do a project is stupid.
So, well, I've got things coming up, and I specifically need to be vaccinated for things. So I kind of had to expedite this process. I'm doing this project, and by the time Saturday night rolls around, I'm trying to move a couple things. Man, my arm is sore. It feels like I got sucker punched in the shoulder. I was like, shit, that's sore. I wasn't really expecting that. Now, I think the worst effects that I had, because I got it on Saturday, I think the worst side effects came on, I think it was probably Monday.
Ew.
Probably Monday.
I haven't heard a whole lot of that. Most people, it's the day of or the day after.
So Monday, I felt so drained. I felt so fatigued. And it could have been just the weekend catching up to me from this project that we were doing.
Trying to do a lot while also – see, because like me, I felt so good the day after the shot that I went on a walk.
Okay.
And mind you, this is in 90-degree weather in Texas, maybe 80s, but warm. Mm-hmm. I felt good enough to go on a walk, and on my walk, I was like, "Oh no, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not there." But once I got back in, rested again, I played video games. I went about my day normally. I didn't feel because some people it's in bed sleeping all day, and it was not like that for me. The only thing that was really bad was the day after when I woke up. I felt like I got hit by a truck. I was like,
was that your first or your second shot?
I got Johnson & Johnson. I only got one shot.
Oh, you only got one shot.
But I was laying in bed after what felt like getting hit by a truck, and I needed to go to the bathroom really bad. And I was just laying there I'm not sure if my body is capable of moving. But once I got up and moving, I took a shower, I got up and moving, most of that soreness went away. Now, the arm soreness lasted damn near a week.
Yeah.
But the rest of it wasn't that bad.
So arm soreness is gone. Arm soreness only lasted about 3 days. But
I think I was
Monday.
5 days.
Yeah, Monday rolled around, and I'm in the middle of trying to do this project, and I have zero energy, and all of a sudden, I'm just I'm hot, and I'm sweating, and I looked at Alyssa, and I was like, is it warm in here? Is it just me? And I felt like I was going to faint, and I was like, I'm dying here. By the way, on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, woke up drenched. I don't know if I had a fever. I had the windows open. It's been 64 degrees here at night. Cool, breezy. We've had nothing but monsoon rains coming through, so there's zero humidity, but I woke up absolutely soaked. So I don't know if I had a fever and maybe I broke it, but I woke up, my shirt just soaking wet.
Well, I am proud of you for starting your Shot Boy summer, even if you're starting it late.
Shot Boy summer.
Now, because of this, undertaking by you, You missed the Michigan game. And I think there's a couple different places we need to get into here because I do want to talk about our, non-negotiable sporting events, the ones that we can't miss. And the reason I thought about it is because, Stroz, I've missed 2 Lions games since I became a Lions fan, which I believe 6th grade is when I started watching Lions football. I missed one for a theater dress rehearsal, which was like the Sunday before the show week. So like literally you cannot miss that. Like it's expected you're there unless you're dying. And I missed another for one of my best friends' bachelor party, of which I was the best man. For the record, this is how much Lions games are non-negotiable. I can tell you exactly which games those were. The game I missed for theater was the one where Ndamukong Suh kicked an extra point against the Jets. I believe they ended up losing that game by the equivalent of that extra point. And the bachelor party was the Arizona Cardinals game where Matthew Stafford was benched. Those are the only 2 Lions games I have ever missed. And I figured you would be that way about Michigan football. But if not, I would at least think you would be that way about week 1 Michigan football. Before we even get into your non-negotiables, which maybe don't exist for you anymore. Why, man? Like, I understand that it's Western Michigan, but like, were you not excited?
I'm so checked out on this team. I was telling John this. I'm in such a weird place as a Michigan fan where I want them to do bad because I want Harbaugh gone. But I want my team to do well because that's my team. So like I'm in this really, really weird spot with this team this year.
Kind of where I think we both were about Matt Patricia last year.
Yeah. It's like it's a weird place to be. It's horrible, right? Because you want to root your team on, but at the same point, you're like, man, if I keep rooting them on, they're going to keep winning. And if they keep winning, they're going to keep this clown. And then it just kind of prolongs the suffering. So what do we do? So that's where I'm at entering this season. All right.
Isn't it one of the worst things of being a sports fan is being intelligent? Mm-hmm. Like sports fandom is better if you're just
if you're just stupid. Yeah. It's great.
Way better to not because it can still be fun to root for your team even when it's better for them to suck. Mm-hmm. If you don't know that it's better for them to suck. Once you know that, it becomes way harder.
Yeah. It's when you start putting logic into it and you start thinking, you kind of understand the landscape. You're the worst.
Do you disagree?
No. You're just the worst for highlighting it, pointing it out.
I get how out you are on them, but like, so does that mean like none of them are non-negotiable this year? Like, are you I'm not like, obviously you're not going to watch 0 Michigan games, but like if other opportunities come up that are better, are you just like totally open to missing any game? Let me put it this way, Stroz. If there was a game on the schedule that I was in town for, is there any game where you go, no, man, like I have to watch this game? If I was like, Stroz, come out, we're doing this.
I don't know. If you shut up and go on wherever you're at, like that's what we're doing.
Like the Ohio State game, right here, right now, you got to decide between hanging out with me or watching the Ohio State game. Which one are you choosing?
Can we hang out together and watch the Ohio State game?
No.
That might be the non-negotiable.
Do you understand how this works?
So here's the thing.
90 episodes deep in the podcast, I would like you to understand how this works.
I'm always going to try to bend it a little bit. Here's the rules. I'm going to try to work around those. So like I'm watching the Washington game this Saturday. It's kind of making like a date night out of it with the girlfriend because she's a huge Michigan fan too. Loves college football.
Okay, why was she okay with not watching it, or did she watch it while you worked?
She helped with the project.
I assume she did.
Yeah, no, she helped with the project. I don't think she realized that Western was playing, or that they were playing Western. Plus, which was weird to me because she hates Western because she's a Chippewa. So fire up chips. I don't know. I don't know. I think what it was we had a lot going on this past weekend because we were having people over on Sunday. So it was like this mad dash to get everything done as much as possible. So it was, you have to sacrifice something. So we sacrificed the Michigan-Wisconsin game, or Western game. Wow. Now, this is what I'll tell you. I'm watching the Washington game this week. I will watch the Michigan State game, and I will watch the Ohio State game. I'm already making plans, however, to go golfing with my buddy on random Saturdays. So that way I don't miss Lions football. I will miss the Michigan games because I just don't give a shit about this team anymore.
Not only non-negotiable, not only like is it not non-negotiable, but like you are intending to miss games ahead of time.
Yeah. Like, but that's where I'm at with this team. I'm just so over them. So
is Michigan for you comparable to me for Lions, like over previous history? Like, could you count how many games you've missed in the last decade on one hand?
Yeah. Yep. It's like, I think 3 games I've missed.
Wow.
So yeah. And like Michigan football was like my deal. Like that was my thing, like I have a lot of fond memories. I watched, I'm going to just kind of bare some soul here to you. I watched, the Hall of Fame football inductions this past year, and Charles Woodson was inducted. And I went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know about that. When Charles Woodson got inducted, I cried his entire speech. Like I bawled my eyes out. And like Alyssa looked over at me, she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I love that guy. Like that's like Charles Woodson was my childhood. Like that was my guy. Chuck is my dude." So like, I don't know, man. It just hit in a certain spot. So
I get it.
It's like that's my guy. And like Michigan, like those old like Michigan teams, those were my team.
I will cry if Matthew Stafford wins a Super Bowl. He can do it for anybody. He can do it for the Packers. It does not matter. I would cry for Matthew Stafford to win a Super Bowl, no question about it.
So you understand that.
Could you imagine the wreck I would have been if Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl for the Lions?
For the Lions? Oh my God.
I might need to take the next day off of work. I don't think I would sleep.
You'd be inconsolable.
So I know, I get that. I don't want to like dig too deep into Michigan football. We'll get into our non-negotiables. But are you worried at all about the Washington game, or you don't care because you don't care what happens?
I'm not really worried about it, but at the same point,
such an embarrassment. I'll tell you what: if you're on the side of you want Jim Harbaugh to get fired, I think that's the kind of game you got to lose.
That's the kind of game that you're.
After they lost to Montana.
Yeah.
Like I understand that Washington, and here's the thing: it kind of feels like a Michigan loss, if I'm being honest. The team that
it's like App State all over.
Good, but is it? No. Washington's still a Power 5 school. They're a school that had some level of expectations coming into the season. That's why it feels like a Michigan loss. Because I imagine Washington is not going to continue to lose to everybody, right? It's probably going to turn out that Washington's a 7 or 8 win team, but like just didn't bring it and got smacked by a bad football team. And I like it just feels like it's built up to be a Michigan loss. But I think it's the kind of loss that looks pretty damn embarrassing for Harbaugh if you're in on him being fired.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose, for sure. And look, I don't really care what happens. I'm going to watch the game. If they win, they win. If they lose, I'll tell you, same old same. And you're right. If there's a game that will kind of seal the end for him, it would be this, and it'd be him getting destroyed by Michigan State and getting destroyed by OSU. Like, they're lucky they didn't play OSU last year. They're lucky COVID happened. I use finger quotes for COVID happened, because OSU was legitimately looking to come and kill Michigan. They were talking about hanging 100 before, and I think they probably would have, because that Michigan team was so piss poor last year. But
all right, do you have any non-negotiables?
So
did you used to? Have you aged out of them?
Yes and no. Okay, so as a kid, I had a ton of non-negotiables, right? So like I watched every Michigan football game. I would always watch every Lions game. And then as I've kind of gotten older, I have kind of aged out of them a little bit. I will still watch the Stanley Cup Finals. Generally, I will watch if there's a game where they can win the Stanley Cup. I will generally watch that because I want to see that happen. That's like a non-negotiable.
I get that one. The clinching game of any series is always kind of cool, especially Game 7s in any sport. When you get to like this is it, like those. Even in hockey, I'll acknowledge that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with the NBA Finals. NBA Finals, I think I've missed one in the last
game.
I've missed the game clinching game.
Wow, I missed more than that.
Missed one, and I think probably the last 15 years.
It's interesting. You're way more national than me because I assume Super Bowl's on that list.
Oh yeah, Super Bowl for sure. Don't miss those. See,
when I think about it, so I missed one half of one Super Bowl. Are you familiar with the story?
No.
Let's play a fun game. If you had to guess, the one reason I missed one half of and it was a bad half to miss.
Probably your girlfriend.
I missed a half of Patriots Falcons.
Oh, was it your girlfriend?
Nope.
Oh.
Want to take any more guesses?
Work?
No, but you could say kind of. Sleep.
You slept through. Did you work an overnight?
I worked. So my very first overnight shift was the night after that Super Bowl.
Oh.
And I wasn't entirely sure what my plans were. I knew I was going to watch early on, and then I was going to kind of just see how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And the game got out of hand, as we all know.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd go to sleep. And I woke up to find out it was going to that game went to overtime, right?
Did it go to overtime?
I could be wrong. I remember waking up to find out like it was coming down to the wire. And I actually had to drive during like when the game was decided. So I was listening on the radio to the very end of it, but I missed almost all the second half. I believe that game went to overtime, but I'm not 100% sure.
Was that was 2016,
I believe.
Yeah, I think it was 16. I'm looking to see if it went to 16.
And the thing is too, as I got more and more used to working overnights, I would try to get a nap before I went in.
It did go to overtime.
Yeah, I think I woke up to find out it was going into overtime. But as I got more used to working those shifts, I would try to get a nap in. But some nights, like literally every single day, I would try to nap, and I could just tell it wasn't going to happen sometimes, and I'd give up, and it was like whatever, like you deal with it. But at that time, it was my first one, and I was pretty like concerned about it. So that's the only, like, I've never missed the Super Bowl. Otherwise, as I said, Lions games. This is kind of an interesting one. Every single playoff football game used to be non-negotiable. Now, we've talked about this before. I did for a while miss them because of my ex's niece had a birthday party every single year on one of the wild card. I think it was Wild Card Saturday. And I got to tell you, it's kind of cheating the non-negotiable terms, but it feels like that's the only kind of, like, literally the only kind of thing that I would make those exceptions for ever again. Because, like, it's a lot easier for me to say, sorry, this is too important for me to deal with whatever you want me to do, to an adult. Like, this is something that matters deeply to me. But when it's a child like you cared about, right? You can't pull that card. You can't tell a little kid that you can't be at their birthday party because there's football on. I could not do that.
So when it comes to the Lions,
I would miss anything for a little kid and I don't have currently any little kids in my life that I cared about. That would be the only exception to any single rule. Lions game, Super Bowl, whatever. Like, it's why I can't have children, because if I have children and they need me to miss the Super Bowl because they're like in a weird baseball game that's played exactly at the same time as the Super Bowl, like, I got to be there. So I can't have kids. I mean,
it's like, here's the thing. As far as like Lions go, there's not too many games that I miss. Now, I would play in a hockey league that would play on Sundays, and that always made it tough because depending on what time my game was, I wasn't going to miss my hockey game. Like, that was a non-negotiable. It was not missing my hockey.
I would miss a lot of weddings for a Lions game. I probably have 10 friends whose weddings I'd go to over.
Have I ever explained to you, like, just the utter anger that the Lions would put me through? So the Lions would lose on a Sunday, and I would be upset until at least Thursday or Friday of that week. Just annoyed and upset. Okay, are you walking away?
Really hard to show you this.
Are you mad?
God, this is so hard. Do you see this?
B is flipping a chair over. Now I'm looking at his keyboard. This is great. He's trying to show me something. I'm not sure what he's trying to show me.
I don't know how to do it. This would have been so much easier. Do you see the kind of chair that I sit in when we do this show?
Yes.
I flipped this thing over after a Lions lost one time. I don't know what you call that chair. It's not a computer chair. Like, what is this?
It looks like it's like a lounge chair.
It's like a set with my couch. It's a big chair.
It's a big chair. It looked pretty heavy when you're lifting it up.
I flipped it over after a Lions loss. In fact, it wasn't this one. It was similar and actually quite heavy, like heavier than this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is years ago, like even like early on in that relationship. But my ex told me she didn't want to hang out with me after Lions losses because of how bad of a mood I was in. So you don't gotta tell me about getting angry about losses.
So you understand. You get it.
Yes, the one thing I will say is I do get angry about Lions losses, as is also on brand. I think I get more sad than angry, like, more often.
Super.
Angry is when I feel like they really messed something up. Sad is just like for a big loss.
Like, I would just be so upset. And that there came a point in my life where I was like, you can't allow them to keep controlling you like this, and you have to kind of separate. Like, I would put Lions games and like that team over just about everything else. And it became extremely difficult. And at a certain point, I just kind of had to like, no, I'm good. But like, so when I was going back and forth between Indiana and Michigan, remember how I would tell you I would put the Lions game on my phone and I would drive with the Lions game on my phone, like just watching the Lions game while I'm driving down 69 or whatever, trying to get back home. So I understand where your Lions love is.
I'm just very pro tangent at this point in our show now. But I had a roommate who would watch Netflix while he drove for work. And I don't mean to work. I mean he was a driver. He was a delivery driver full time.
I feel like that's incredibly dangerous.
Dangerous, dude. Like, it's dangerous. But you, like 40 hours a week, this man would watch Netflix and drive. Like, and a small part of me envied that dude, that he just had, like, that much confidence in, like, one, his ability as a driver, two, in his ability to keep his job. Like, just all of it. Like, the other part of me was, like, actively like, dude, you're an idiot. This is a terrible idea. You need to stop.
Yeah.
But it was, like, so comical at the same time that this dude really put on Netflix.
That's funny.
I did have an Uber driver who was watching Red Zone one time, which, again, on one hand, you're like, dude, like, you are driving me. I'm not cool with you watching Red Zone. On another hand, I'm like, dude, thank you. I want to watch Red Zone.
So you had some mixed emotions on it, huh?
Yeah, no, I did. What was that? Because I remember I missed part of the Lions game for that too. I was coming home from Detroit, actually, I believe. Is there anything else? Is it are yours pretty much all national at this point?
Yeah, for the most part at this point, yeah.
I think mine are Lions games, all of them, and then every playoff game. And the only exceptions, like I told you, are basically children. Because I can't tell a little kid that I can't make their birthday party.
Small kids. That's interesting. That's funny.
Dude, I fucking love little kids. I just don't want any of my own. I just like other people.
Like, do you not want kids at all?
I don't think so.
Really?
Nah.
Is that like a new revelation, or is that kind of how it's always been?
So, are we going to really get into whether or not I want kids?
I mean, I find it to be interesting.
Minutes? Oh, I'm down to have the conversation, but we're 45 minutes deep in a podcast, and
it's actually like an hour, but
nah, the half hour of that is just chilling.
All right.
I mean, we can wrap it up. We can leave that cliffhanger.
Do you want to talk about it next week?
No, I don't think it's interesting enough for that. Here's what I'll say. I'm not super out on having kids. I would label myself as open to having kids because I do love kids. Yeah. But I also like being selfish. I like saying, like, no, like, Lions games are non-negotiable. I am watching Lions games on Sunday. It's 4 hours, 17 times a year that are super important to me. And I think that in healthy relationships, friendships, or, romantic relationships, it is something that you need to be able to do, to have those things. I think with children, unfortunately, sometimes you don't get to have those things. And I like being able to have those things. It's something that matters to me. I also like being able to be broke. I don't like being broke, but I like the fact that I can make very little money and still get by. I don't want to have to sacrifice, career aspirations or personal life. I love kids, but I don't know that I have interest in making the sacrifices. However, I do consider myself open to it because I do love kids. And I guess what I would say is I'm confident I could be happy in life with or without children.
Interesting. Very interesting. Like, you strike me as a guy who would be, one, a great dad. Two, I feel like you would bask in the glory of having your kid basically partnered at your right hip, watching the Lions game, and you just telling them all kinds of information.
I mean, I love little kids in general. They don't need to. I think that's a big part of it. They don't need to be my children.
You just need kids.
So
you could be Uncle B. So I can drop my kids off.
I have really good friends who have kids. Who like. Honestly, I'll tell you, it's really hard to be here because I have little friends I have friends who have little kids who I'd like to be more a part of their life. But that is pretty good for me. But yeah, we can wrap it up. Do you have any more questions about that? Because I don't think we'll ever get back to that.
No, I think I'm pretty good. I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how that view changes, because the fact that you're leaving it open. Well, the fact that you're leaving it open, generally this is what happens, right? People who who are like, I don't want kids, but I'm open to kids. That usually ends up changing. And like when you hit like 30, you're like, I don't want kids.
What I'll tell you is I always wanted kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always thought for sure I would want kids. And I'd actually say it was my being in my long-term relationship that changed that. I just realized how much fun I was having in life without kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I don't want to give this up. And as, you know, even after the relationship was over, I still feel fairly similar to that. And in fact, I'd say maybe even more now that I'm like, you know, I fund my own life.
This is why you have to have good grandparents who want to babysit.
Oh, my dad would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting is the word I'll stick with on that.
My mom is like, so I called my mom. I had to run to Home Depot on, I think it was Saturday night after we got that door put in. I had to go grab a couple other things. And I called my mom, and I ran into her old boss at the pet store because I had to go get dog food as well. And the pet store is right next to Home Depot. So whatever. A long story short. Anyways, I called her and I was like, hey, so you'll never guess who I ran into while I was picking up your granddaughter some food. And she was like, what? Is this how you're telling me? And like, we already have this whole thing set up how she's going to find out that she's a grandma. And I was like, no, like no, Lola, like you're my puppy. You're, and she was like, oh, okay. I was like, no, we've already discussed this. Like, you're getting a basket. She wants to be called Grandma Yogi because she wants to be like Yogi Bear. Hey, boo boo. She's going to have a little basket for toys for whenever the kids come over. They always get a brand new toy. It's a mess. So my mom's like already pumped about it. So I know that at least 3 days a week, I got me a freaking babysitter with moms, and I'm down for it. Now I just need my dad to come through and not get sick and die because he's in the hospital. If he can do that, he can watch the kids 1 day a week, and that'll be okay. I don't really trust my dad all that much, but I trust the shit out of my moms. We can end it there, B.
Yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up there.